All right, team, 2022 is nearly at its end, and as always, that means it is once again time for my yearly roundup of the best Android apps. Every month this year, I've featured at least 10 new applications on my channel, sometimes double or even triple that depending on the month, for a total north of 150 apps featured throughout the year. But for today's video, I've picked just 20, all of which are my absolute favorites out of everything that I've featured. And for anyone wondering, there are two main criteria that determine whether an app makes it onto this end of year list. The first being whether it still impresses me this deep into the year. And secondly, and perhaps more importantly, whether I'm still using the app itself. And so with that being said, here are my top 20 apps for 2022. And kicking off the list today is my very own application palette, which got a feature all the way back in January of this year. For those who haven't heard of it, this is an app designed to not only showcase beautiful home screen setups, but also to provide you with direct access to all of the assets needed to recreate the various home screen setups on your own phone. And it's been a whirlwind year for Palette with over 250,000 downloads this year and close to 50,000 active users at the time of making this video. And on the down low, we've actually got a huge update planned for sometime in early 2023, so keep an eye out for that. Next up is Taskade, and I've spoken about this app a number of times on the channel now, but I just genuinely use it so often that it absolutely deserved a place in today's video. This is a real-time organization and collaboration tool similar to platforms like Notion or Slack or even Microsoft Teams, but it offers pretty much every feature offered by those other platforms completely for free, and for mine, wrapped up in a better design. Highly recommend. And despite all the craziness that's been happening with Twitter over the past little while, I thought it was still worth mentioning third-party Twitter client Harpy in this video, because this app was one of the first to truly open my eyes as to just how beautiful animations can be within Android applications. To this day, I still don't think I've ever experienced an app quite as smooth or as fluid as Harpy is, except for perhaps my other application, Shelf. But seriously, everything from the scrolling up and down on the main timeline to the switching between menus, it's just straight butter. And then, believe it or not, despite the Android 13 upgrade a few months back, there is still no fix for this awful internet toggle within the quick settings panel found on devices running stock or close to stock Android. So even though I featured it all the way back in February this year, I still use Wi-Fi QS as a workaround, because with it installed, I get access to a much more standard Wi-Fi toggle that I can then use to enable or disable my Wi-Fi as easy as I like. After that is Listy, and this is a beautifully minimal application designed to keep a track of anything using lists. And what makes it great is that whenever you're adding anything to a list, it will then automatically populate additional information like book covers or movie posters, and it just makes all of the lists look that much better. The only downside, although it's not really a downside, but because of the app's focus on privacy, there is no cross-device syncing. And so whilst this app is still installed on my phone, I haven't added anything new to it for a while, although I just might start doing it again after this video. And then we have Tellurium, and this is a really useful companion app for WhatsApp that I've actually used several times this year. In short, it solves that really annoying WhatsApp issue where you can't send messages to contacts that are not saved on your phone. And that's really it. But it does the job, it looks great while doing so definitely worthy of a place in this video. Status bar icon hider is not really an app, strictly speaking, but I've definitely used this a number of times throughout the year since featuring it on the channel, so again, worthy of an inclusion in today's list. When you open this app, rather than having its own interface, it actually just redirects you to this hidden settings menu, which plays host to a bunch of hidden system level customization tweaks. But the primary one I've used it for this year is this status bar menu, which allows you to hide any status bar icon, including the clock if you like. Unfortunately, it's no longer supported with Android 13, so I probably won't be using it for much longer. And then we have Edge Card Launcher, and this is one of those apps that can seriously increase the efficiency of how you use your phone, if the app's used correctly, that is. With the app activated, you'll see this little white line on the edge of your display, and swiping down on that line will open up this card style interface, which plays host to a bunch of helpful shortcuts. You've got music controls, your volume panel, app shortcuts, plus a bunch of other helpful tools and shortcuts as well. But then on top of that, the app just works so reliably. Notification Shortcuts is a fantastic app by one of my favorite developers, Hrusikesh, and this is another app that can really level up your phone's functionality. And that's because it allows you to add up to 12 of your favorite applications to your notification panel for really quick access. And you can even customize them as much as you like. Now, for those with a rooted phone, Fox Magisk Module Manager is a no-brainer app that makes it outrageously easy to find and manage Magisk modules. And this is an app that I have installed on all of my phones that are indeed rooted. It collects Magisk modules from a few key repos, which means the app is always getting updated with new modules. But even better than that is that you can then search for and browse through all of these modules and even install them without leaving the app. Now, whilst this particular ported version of Mi Notes is not an app I still use, mainly due to the fact that it doesn't support cross-device syncing, I'm still absolutely in love with its design and could see myself switching back full-time should the feature be added. For those unaware, the stock note-taking app found on devices running MIUI is hands down, at least in my opinion, the best note-taking app in terms of design and animations. But sadly, it doesn't work on non-MIUI devices. And so this modded app was a hacky way for people to experience this amazing design even without a device running MIUI. And I still love the animations even to this day. AppBar is another fantastic app made by Hrusikesh, the same developer as the Notification Shortcuts app, and it is a great little application that allows you to create scrollable widgets filled with customized icons. There's a bunch of different widget modes to choose from, as well as customizations galore. And what's really cool is that if you have My App Shelf installed, you can now quickly add any of your app shelves as a widget to your home screen if you also have AppBar installed. Seriously amazing. Now, Yuka is not an app I've continued to use since I featured it, but I'm still just as impressed by its functionality. Use the app to scan barcodes found on any food or cosmetic-based product you like, and when you do, the app will instantly provide you with a detailed look at the ingredients used in that product, as well as ratings based on how that product will impact your health. And just for the simple fact that it has a huge range of supported products and for how fast it is at actually scanning the products you place in front of it, makes it a pretty cracking application. In a similar way, I also no longer use the app Plane Finder, but if you are someone who needs to track planes for whatever reason, this app has got to be the best option. You just search for a flight number or just tap on any of these animated plane icons, and once you do, you'll instantly be presented with information about that flight and that particular plane. And what's really cool is that whenever you tap on one of these little plane or helicopter icons, it'll even show you where it's already flown. Now, Nova Launcher is still just about the only third-party launcher that works semi-reliably in conjunction with navigation gestures, but Smart Launcher was an app I only just tried for the first time this year and was highly impressed when I did. It has pretty much all of the key features you'd want out of a home screen launcher, many of which are available with the free version. But then what also makes it worthy of a spot in this video is that heaps of the setups featured within my app palette have been using it. Fingers crossed it can improve how fluid it is when using gestures, because that would be a game changer. Ambient Music Mod is an app that has already been featured twice on my channel this year, and because of this, and also how impressive it is as well, I just absolutely had to showcase it a third time in today's video as well. Put simply, this is a really cool application that emulates one of my favorite features, normally exclusive to Google Pixel devices, the now playing functionality. Now, it doesn't have quite as vast a library of songs as Google obviously has access to, but it works really well and is a seriously impressive workaround for non-Pixel phones. Following that is Minutiae, and I have to be honest, when I first featured this app on the channel, I didn't really think I'd keep using it, but I've actually kind of fallen in love with the concept, and as a result, I'm still using it to this day. It has a similar concept to another popular app doing the rounds this year called Be Real, in that at one specific time, every single day, every single user of the app is notified to capture a photo of whatever is in front of them. But unlike Be Real, Minutiae has no likes, no comments, and it doesn't even have usernames. Essentially, if you like the concept of Be Real, but you want a more antisocial version, then you should totally check this one out. And then we have SMS Backup and Restore. And not only do I still use this app to this day, but I've also been using it for the better part of the past 5 years. As someone who swaps back and forth between several devices throughout the year, I seriously rely on this app to make sure that my SMS chat history gets maintained across each phone, and despite the design looking like it was made in 2012, the app just works flawlessly. Alright, second to last is Note to Self, and this is an app still installed on my phone, but it was only just featured back in November, so time will tell whether it remains that way. But instead of being just a regular old note-taking application, Note to Self actually makes itself unique by using a chat-like interface, which I'm such a big fan of. Similar to the previously mentioned Listy though, because this app has a strong emphasis on privacy, there is no cross-device syncing, which might limit how often I continue using it going forward. And so last, but certainly not least, is another of my own applications, AppDrop. And yes, out of all of the apps featured in today's video, this is probably the one that I use the most often. Now, as you've no doubt picked up on, I install a lot of apps on my phone throughout the year, but as a result, I also then have to uninstall a heap of them once I've finished filming each month's top Android apps videos. And so that's where AppDrop comes in, because it lets you batch uninstall multiple apps in one go. And trust me when I say, having an app like this truly saves me a ridiculous amount of time. There's also a bunch of extra features like sorting your apps or switching to a grid view. And if you upgrade to the premium version, then you can even use the app to extract APKs to your phone. And I know it's my own app, so I am biased, but I seriously cannot recommend this app enough. But that, my friends, is it. Those were my favorite apps out of all of the apps I featured in 2022. You can find all of the links to the apps I mentioned throughout the video down in the description below. And as always, let me know which apps were your top picks throughout the year. And who knows, maybe they'll be featured on the channel in 2023. If you enjoyed the video, then a sub to the channel would be amazing. But that's it. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will catch you later.